my new Warmoth roasted maple Stratocaster neck. Yes, this is a lefty, and I play a Dick Dale style. More on that in a different video. That's not what this is about. Oh, also these inlays are stickers. I got these online. And I swapped it out. I used to have this made in Mexico standard Stratocaster neck. This I've had since like 2010. When I got this guitar, the first thing I did was swap out the pickups. So it's got American pickups and that Seymour Duncan hot rail, which is a humbucker down there at the bridge. So basically this thing has always basically sounded like an American Strat, but the neck always drove me a little crazy. Because this neck has this like finish on it that I think most people would agree is not like the best finish you could ever get on a guitar. I mean, the Made in Mexico guitars are great. I recorded 2 albums on this. I've played this neck more than any other guitar neck I've ever owned. It's certainly a neck that you can have a ton of fun on and that you can play great on. I mean, like, it's not like if you had this neck you wouldn't be able to play well. But there were a couple things I didn't like about it. Number one, it's only got 21 frets. And number two, it has this finish that's sort of not as good as an American standard finish. So if you've ever played an American Strat, it's got this really glossy finish. You sort of feel like you can kind of glide your fingers along the fretboard. And some people don't like that. Same sort of people who wouldn't want to play elixirs wouldn't want that kind of a finish because it makes your fingers slide really quickly. This doesn't have that. This has like a medium type coat. It feels more plasticky. You don't get that glossiness, but you definitely still feel the coat. It always felt plastic to me, and it also started turning yellow over the years, which also wasn't really, I don't know. It just aesthetically didn't look that good. So I was always never really crazy about it, and I saw these roasted maple necks and people raving about how they've never played a guitar more playable than the guitar that they had when they put a Warmoth neck on it. So yeah, I got it. It cost about $220 for the neck, and then if you need someone to install it, you should, you know, budget another like $130, $140. So it's not cheap. And the people at Warmoth, super helpful. The build quality of the neck was really good. And if you call Warmoth like at any point during the process of you buying it, they'll be super helpful. Like, for example, I didn't know all the difference between all the fret sizes, and they explained all of that to me. One of the other big differences between this and like a Made in Mexico neck is that these are stainless steel frets, which if you care, they do last longer. They won't get sort of like filed down by your playing over the years. Whereas on this neck, this is nickel frets. So these nickel frets, you can sort of, you can't see, you know, from the camera, but over the like 10 years I played on this neck, the frets sort of got like worn down from the playing. Yeah, how do I like the neck? This thing's pretty great. Like, I'm liking it a lot. I don't know, you know, people always say like there's no sound difference between maple and rosewood, but there is something about this neck that to me has sort of like an acoustic quality. You can hear for yourself. I'll play a little bit more. I don't know. It might just be sort of like the bias of not having played this guitar for 2 weeks, but it doesn't sound that different to me. The difference is definitely in the playability, and the playability is on a whole other level. neck, it's different. That's all I would say. Like, it's just different. I'm not gonna pretend like it's better because so much of playability is in, you know, your preferences. And if you like the glossy neck that those like maple American necks have, then, you know, that's what you want. The cool thing about this is that it doesn't have a finish, so it doesn't have that like plastic feeling that you get from a finished neck. So it just feels like raw wood, which you would think would feel rough, but because of the maple being roasted, it does not feel rough. It's actually probably the smoothest neck I've ever felt. The other thing I like about it is that it smells like maple syrup. It's pretty bizarre, and I know people talk about it, but because it's roasted, it smells like maple syrup, which is really cool. I mean, obviously from here I can't smell it, but if you put your nose to it, you can smell it. I also just thought the color looks better, and I wanted a 22nd fret. Like, I don't know. I don't know why they ever built Made in Mexico Strats with 21 frets, but they did. And I think now they have 22 frets, like the Player series, which is the new Made in Mexicos, have 22 frets. And you know, if you're rocking out an E, you want that 22nd fret so you can bend to that high E. Can't do that with 21 frets because you don't have that high E, and you know, so much guitar music is written in E that it's kind of silly that they ever made guitars without 22 frets in my view, but maybe that's because I'm such a rock guy that, you know, I don't think there's a lot of genres where you can't really imagine doing some super shreddy, like, you know, it's not gonna work in like a lot of genres, and maybe that's what they were thinking. So would I recommend that you buy this roasted maple neck? Okay, it's definitely super playable, but it's gonna cost you anywhere from like $250 to $400 basically to get it installed, you know, depending on if you know how to install necks yourself. It's a luxury for sure. Is not something I would say you need. Like, this is not the sort of thing I would say, like, hey, you have to go buy this, otherwise you're not going to sound good. No, I mean, like, I played this neck for 10 years. I recorded 2 albums on it. I've played this neck more than any neck I've ever played in my life. But if you have the cash and you have a guitar that you really want to upgrade the neck on, yeah, I would check out Warmoth. They're pretty great. I mean, this is quickly becoming the favorite neck I've ever played on. I think the roasted maple looks really cool. It doesn't come with a headstock decal, right? You can tell it doesn't say anything here. They give you this Warmoth decal. I'm not going to put this on. I actually bought some custom decals that say something from a TV show that I like that I'm going to have to install, but that's going to take some time. But yeah, I mean, do you need this? No. It's a nice luxury, though. If you've got the cash and you want to upgrade one of your guitars, I think these necks look great. They feel great. I mean, it feels like a Strat neck in terms of the shape, right? It's a, you know, standard, like, modern C shape. But in terms of the playability, the lack of that plastic finish, I mean, this is something else. This is pretty sweet.